and welcome to the Penn State College of Engineering Accepted Student Session. We'll get started in about a minute or so. Hello again, and welcome to the Penn State College of Engineering Accepted Student Program. My name is Matt Barone, and I'm the Director for Student Engagement here in the College of Engineering, and I'm excited to welcome you to our session today. We know that by being accepted to the Penn State College of Engineering, that you have everything it takes to be successful here at the college. And our goal today is to share with you some of the resources, supports, and opportunities that we have available to you here at the college to help make the best decision for you. Our session is being recorded so that we can share this with you afterwards. We do that for a couple of reasons. We know that it's a lot of time on Zoom today. And so if you need to take a quick break and step away, know that you'll get the recording so you can catch back up on any of the content that you may have missed. We will, as we go, be able to answer your questions though. And so we might not have time to do those live, but at the bottom of your Zoom window, you should see the question and answer button. If you open up that tab, you'll be able to submit questions to us, the panelists here today, and we'll answer those questions directly and post those so you can review the questions that have been asked and the answers that we've given, and continue to ask us questions. And we'll be monitoring that starting now and throughout our session. So feel free to submit questions to us that way. Our session today, it will be about an hour and a half, and you'll first hear from the Engineering Advising Center and learn a little bit about how you declare your major, register for classes, and much more. Then a couple of students will talk to you a little bit about some of the experiences that they've had on campus. After that, we've put together a virtual tour for you that will take you through campus and show you some videos and pictures of the insides of our facilities and talk to you about our different majors that we have here at the College of Engineering. So please know that over the next hour and a half, again, you're getting that recording. So if you need to take a break, you can. I am excited to invite Chris from our Advising Center, who will be our first presenter. And Chris is going to talk to you a little bit about the Engineering Advising Center and the support that they provide our students. Chris, thanks so much for being here today.
Hi, Matt, and thanks for having me. And hi, everyone. And once again, a very warm welcome and congratulations to all of you. We're excited to have you all with us today. And my name is Chris Nishalke. I'm an academic advisor in the Engineering Advising Center. I've been in the office for a little bit more than 3.5 years, and in my current role for about 2 years. I'm also a Penn State alum myself with the class of 2017 and an alum of the Penn State School of International Affairs, the class of 2020. Here in the Engineering Advising Center, you have access to a team of 8 professional advisors, and we are in the process of hiring some additional staff as well as our lovely admin support staff, Anna Pearl-Belinda and Denise Murphy. And thank you to both of them for being with us today as well. So a little bit about what our office does and how we help students. So we can help you if you're struggling in a class, if you have questions about entrance to major, if you need help with planning a summer or semester schedule, or if you want to know more about several different majors and how they overlap. Really any sort of questions or concerns that students typically have in their first and second year. Our full-time job is to help you succeed in any way that we can. So we are not engineers ourselves. We all have backgrounds in higher education. My background is in international higher education. A lot of my coworkers have worked in residence life as well. So we're all just here to help you to be successful in any way that we can. Now, if you do have in-depth questions about a specific major, or if you need to talk to someone with a bit more of an engineering background, we do also have our faculty advisors in our office. And the faculty advisors are faculty members in the departments, and they're experts in their fields. So they can tell you more about what you can do with that major after graduation, maybe graduate school or career planning, any sort of long-term course planning until graduation, majors, minors that pair well with a particular major. Any of those topics are perfect for faculty advising appointments. In addition to the professional advisors and our engineering peer advising leaders, or in addition to our faculty advisors, we have our engineering peer advising leaders. And the EPALs, as we call them, are upper class students who can give you a bit more of a student perspective. They've been trained to answer most of the common questions and really to give that peer-to-peer perspective. All right, so now I'll go ahead and share my screen here. I have a few tabs loaded already. And the first site that I'd like to share with you, and also we will be sharing all of these links with you in the chat and after today's session as well. So feel free to just follow along for right now. You don't need to click anything at this time. So if you're looking to learn a little bit more about the majors that are offered through the College of Engineering, these videos that we have here are a great resource. So it starts with a welcome from our dean of the college, and then it's got a little more information about each major that you can complete through the College of Engineering at University Park. Now, we do have some of the more popular ones here, like Aerospace Engineering, Chemical, and Computer Science. There are also some on this page that you may not have heard of before. Things like Engineering Science, for example, Biological Engineering, and also Nuclear Engineering. Engineering Science is our honors major. It's not affiliated with the Schreier Honors College, but it does include a significant research project that culminates with an honors thesis. And I really like this major because it's got a lot of room for flexibility. So as you're working on your research project, you can take a lot of different electives and really customize your degree to suit your interests. So here it's got an introduction to the engineering science major, and then also a few paragraphs of related information and minors and certificates, as well as on the right side, some additional links and resources that you might find helpful as you explore that particular major. Now, for any of the majors that you see on this page, you can start either at University Park or at another Penn State campus and do what we call a 2+2 program. So that would mean that you do 2 years at a Commonwealth campus, and then you would move to the University Park campus to finish the remainder of your degree. There are a lot of benefits to starting at another campus. For example, you could choose a campus that's a bit closer to home, or you might just want maybe a smaller campus feeling combined with the power of a large research-oriented university. I personally started at the Penn State Altoona campus, and I really appreciated having the smaller campus size to start out. And I had a really great experience to start at Penn State Altoona. So in addition to the majors that we have beyond the College of Engineering majors that you can complete at University Park, we also have, sorry, the Zoom controls are getting in the way here. There we go. We also have opportunities beyond the College of Engineering. So there are a lot of excellent engineering programs inside the College of Engineering at other campuses, as well as outside of the College of Engineering. So some of our campuses, for example, have 2- and 4-year engineering technology programs that have a bit more hands-on coursework in the first 2 years. We also have programs in the College of Engineering, for example, our rail transportation engineering program at Penn State Altoona, as well as surveying engineering at Wilkes-Barre. We also have some engineering type majors that are outside of the College of Engineering and are located, for example, in our College of Earth and Mineral Sciences. Those would be majors like energy engineering, environmental systems engineering, mining engineering, and petroleum and natural gas engineering, for example. So one thing that we like to highlight is the flexibility that you have in the first few years. So this is our Engineering Advising Center page. And when you apply to Penn State, you'll indicate what major you're interested in. However, when you're accepted to the College of Engineering, you'll begin as a pre-major College of Engineering student. Okay, so this is where you would go here, the first and second year students button. Okay, so being a pre-major student in your first and second year allows you to take coursework that's required across a number of engineering disciplines, use the College of Engineering's major exploration programs, have conversations with faculty members and our students, and access additional resources to describe or to decide which major it is that is a good fit for you. And we highly encourage you to do parallel planning. So that's the idea that there are quite a few different majors that you can complete and go into a chosen field. So for example, aerospace engineering. But if you think about all of the different types of components that go into an airplane, think about the electrical systems, for example. So that could be a way that you could major in maybe electrical engineering and still work in the aerospace field. Or you could do something related to math or physics or nuclear engineering as an example. So there are a lot of different majors that you can pursue and still end with a career in the aerospace industry as an example. Okay, and next we have our bulletin. And this is the central resource at Penn State for major exploration, as well as finding information about things like entrance to major and also academic plans. So you should use this resource to understand all of the majors that we have, to explore them further and learn more, as well as to understand the academic requirements for each one. So if you click on undergraduate programs and then baccalaureate, this will show you all of the 160 different majors that we offer at Penn State. And here on the right side, you can filter out, for example, by campus, by interest, and by college. So I'll go ahead and filter out here just for College of Engineering programs. And we'll take biomedical engineering just as one example here. So for each of the majors, it does give you a few paragraphs of description here, so you can read through and decide if that might be a major that you'd like to pursue. And then here on the right, we have some more helpful information like the How to Get In tab. And that explains the entrance to major requirements. All of our majors have entrance to major requirements that are designed to help departments to reach their target number of students each year. So different majors may have different entrance to major requirements just to make sure that they have enough faculty, enough lab space, those kinds of considerations. It does not mean, for example, that one major is better or a more highly ranked major than any other. Also, as a pre-major engineering student, you are guaranteed admission into the major that you choose as long as you meet the entrance to major requirements that are listed on this page. So for biomedical engineering, as an example, you need to have between 29 and 55 graded Penn State credits. You need to have completed 5 courses with a C or higher, and you need to have a GPA of at least 3.0. The next resource here is our suggested academic plan. And this is where you can see all of the different options within the major if there are multiple options, as well as one way that you can complete this program from start to finish. Now, it is just that, a suggested academic plan, right? Everyone has different amounts of transfer credit, and may take different courses depending on availability. So the important part is to work with an advisor each semester to make sure that you're remaining on track. We do ask that you meet with us at least once a semester, even if you're doing well, just to check in and just to plan your courses for future semesters. So for example, you can see here that biomedical engineering requires several chemistry courses, an engineering design course, math courses, physics, and then the first year seminar. So the first year seminar is really designed to introduce you to the resources that we have in the College of Engineering and at Penn State. So they might be themed based on a specific major of interest or a common theme that's related to engineering, like sustainability, for example. We also have some more general first year seminar courses. So if you're thinking about multiple majors, that can be a good way to explore further as well. So at new student orientation, all of the advisors will provide guidance for students as you schedule your classes. For example, one common question that usually comes up at orientation is how AP credits can fulfill requirements. So if you want to plan ahead and decide which AP exams you'd like to take, you can find the course equivalency information here on our undergraduate admissions page. So you can scroll down and see, for example, what each of our physics AP programs would have. So for physics C mechanics, you can see that a grade of 4 or a 5 would provide credit for physics to 11, which would be required for biomedical engineering, for example. All right, and next I'd like to welcome our Global Fellow.
Thank you very much, Chris. Very helpful. And for folks that were following along, I tried my best, and I have one last link to drop in the chat, so you can click on those and save those links as well. And so Jared is up next, and I'm excited to hear your presentation, Jared. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Matt. Get this. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. So before I get rolling today, I just want to share an important quote with you about education abroad as an engineer. So it's from Sanober Khan. It is up to you and me to take solace in nostalgia's arms and our ability to create the everlasting from fleeting moments. So from that, ponder that as we go along. But my big question for you all is, have you ever been in complete awe? And I don't mean just, wow, that was fun. That was cool. I mean, pure, complete joy and amazement. I had one of those moments standing in the fells of northern Finland, which you'll see in this picture. It was a fleeting moment of standing under and looking up at the northern lights trickling overhead. And it really was a moment of pure joy for several reasons, some of which I'm sure you can imagine. But I was lucky enough to capture a few pictures like the one you're seeing here today. So without further ado, hello, everybody. As Chris said, my name is Jared Martin. I'm a senior in engineering science, which is that program that you also heard Chris talk a bit about. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to drop them in the Q&A, and I'll be happy to answer them. But I was fortunate enough to study abroad twice during my time at Penn State. After my freshman year, I was part of a Maymester program in Nantes, France, which means it was only a 2-week program taught by Penn State professors with the help of some professors at that school. And then I liked it so much that my sophomore year, I went back for a full semester at Jönköping University in southern Sweden. And there's a picture of me. So when I first left for my first study abroad, you might be able to find me in this picture. I was a really fresh-faced, shy, young college student here at Penn State. Like I mentioned, it was one of our 2-week programs, and I was a bit apprehensive. I didn't know it, but I was ready to see the world. But if you asked me coming out of high school, I didn't have any clue. As a young Penn State engineer, I knew all of the incredible opportunities that I had in front of me at the College of Engineering here. That's part of the reason I came to Penn State. but I wasn't absolutely sure they'd take me outside of the United States. I know, or I felt like many of you might, that engineering is a rigorous course load. I wasn't sure maybe I'd be able to make it work with my schedule. My sister had come through Penn State as a pre-veterinary student, and she wanted to study abroad. She could never make it happen. But fortunately, as you can see, it did. And here's some of those lessons I learned that were able to make that happen. So one of those lessons was to leave doubt behind and be flexible instead. So for instance, one example of this lesson, I never expected in a million years that I'd swim in the Arctic Ocean. But life is really not often what we expect it to be. And as you can see, I did end up doing that. I'm an honors engineering student in engineering science and also part of the Schreier Honors College. So I have had a thesis to write over the past few years, which was just turned in last week. And I have 3 minors. I have a minor in engineering mechanics, engineering leadership development, and a minor in global international studies. So school can be really difficult and stressful a lot of the time, and it has been at times over the past 4 years. And at one point, like I said, I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to really study abroad. But by being flexible, I made it work. And Penn State gives you the resources to make it happen. I had to really open up to being more flexible than I'd ever been, which can be tough for engineers like me. I hopped on a plane to Sweden, international flight from New York to Stockholm without a single course registered for my semester abroad. That's simply the way that the school in Jönköping does it. You do it when you get there. But I was on the ground working with my advisors back here at Penn State, exchanging emails about what would work best for my path. And that wouldn't have been possible without preparing ahead of time and opening up my mind to the possibility of being more flexible and making it work while I was there. It was a thrilling experience, but it turned out in the end to be a really fruitful one. And I found courses that I took that were really valuable and counted towards my engineering degree here at Penn State. So kind of spurring off of that, be sure to seek discomfort. And from that discomfort, you'll find growth. I had never left North America at the time of my first study abroad experience. It was very cozy here in Pennsylvania. I'm from outside of Philadelphia, like a lot of people who come to Penn State say. And I was very comfortable. And I was a bit of an introvert too. When I went to France, in this picture on my first study abroad experience, I was immediately immersed in discomfort, in new cultures. I was living with a host family where my host mom was from Japan, my host dad was from France. I always tell people it was really cool because they would speak English with me. The father spoke French to his children and the mother spoke Japanese to her children. It was a really cool experience. And I was taking courses with a dozen people, a lot of them you see here, who I had never met before the trip. I was really putting myself out there. And yet by the end of our first week of 2 weeks, we were traveling together. This is us at the end of that first week, traveling together in the north of France, in Normandy. And we were close enough to be comfortable with that. And by the end of the experience, we were all bonded in the intimacy of international travel. And from then on, I really did start to open up as a person and as a Penn State student. And I learned a lot about opening up to the world. So don't be afraid to get a little uncomfortable, especially in college, because on the other side of that discomfort, you'll find really immense growth. So next, cherish the memories and carry them with you. Of course, the core of any international experience is people. So in the beginning of my presentation, I mentioned the fleeting moments that passed while I was standing there in the north of Finland, watching the northern lights overhead. I'd never see those people around me or those lights again, I realized while I was standing there. That's why that moment means so much to me. I had met all of these people. I was the only American on the trip in the past 2 months. And in 5 months, I would likely never see them in person again. Still, we had formed a really unbreakable bond in that moment together. Those moments don't just happen at momentous occasions. They pass us by every second of every day. And this is another one of these moments on this slide. This picture is the last picture I took with friends in Sweden before we had to fly home due to the COVID-19 pandemic that we're still dealing with today. It was a very somber afternoon, as you can imagine. And it made me realize truly how valuable every single second I spent in Sweden was. And I wouldn't trade a single second of that time for the world. Education abroad allows us to find more of these moments. And I couldn't be more grateful. And in fact, inspired me so much that I'm going on to get my master's in London starting in the fall. And traveling abroad as an engineer can really widen your perspective and give you a global perspective for the modern engineering industry. So with that, I want to thank you for listening to my presentation. Hopefully you'll consider studying abroad. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the Global Engineering Fellows Program, the Center for Global Engineering Engagement, or check out our website. Thank you all.
Thanks, Jared. I really appreciate your stories, and those pictures are really captivating. It's really fun to imagine being there with you, and I hope that you continue to cherish those for sure as well. So thanks for joining us and sharing today, and feel free to drop some questions to Jared in the question and answer box. Next up is Alexis, who's going to share a little bit about our Career Resources Center and the support that she and her team provide for helping you find an internship and jobs and all of that important stuff that you're going to want to pursue right from the very beginning. So Alexis, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Matt. All right, so hello everyone. My name is Alexis Vita, and I am a sophomore studying computer science here at Penn State. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the career resources that the College of Engineering provides to students. So first off, I am a career envoy, and what that is that I help with resume reviews and providing advice to students for finding internships with different companies. Our envoys come from many different majors, and each one of us have a different experience with different companies, so students can come talk to us about our experiences. The Engineering Career Resources Office holds many recruiting events such as network receptions and career fairs in the fall and spring semesters that students can attend. So this is our website that you guys can go on, and under students, you can find information on meeting with career envoys, upcoming events such as the network reception, the fall career days, and resume review tips. As you can see here on the screen, it breaks it down into a calendar that you can see when to meet with career envoys. And on that schedule, you can see what time the envoys meet. You do not have to meet with an envoy that matches up to your major. You can meet with one that fits into your schedule. So these are just a few of the events that we hold, the fall career days. The network reception is a great event, especially for freshmen. It's a great way to meet recruiters. We highly encourage freshmen to start looking for internships, even if they're not ready to find an internship. It's really good to start practicing. Getting an internship and going through interviews, it's a skill. And the only way to get better at that is by attending events such as the network reception and career days to start talking with recruiters and getting more comfortable with it. So this is Nittany Lion Careers, and what this is it is a website for students to log into that lists all the different internships and co-ops that are available to them. There are thousands of listings on this website, and recruiters are really looking for students of all levels and majors. So this is a great way for students to find a job. You can also submit your resume to this website to be reviewed by all the career envoys in the Engineering Career Services website. So that is another way to help get your resume polished. So this is what the career envoy schedule looks like, as I mentioned earlier. You can see the different envoys when they meet and what times. and you can schedule an appointment with the envoys starting as soon as you get onto campus in the fall. We'll start talking about resumes and getting them ready for the career receptions. So many internships and co-ops offered to students are paid, which is really great because we are students, so it helps working towards our student loans and stuff. It is also possible to earn credit for some classes or majors that are offer internship credits. I'll just highlight a few big ones. So for computer science, the average starting salary is about $26 an hour. Mechanical engineering, $21 an hour. Biological engineering, about $21 an hour. So they're all about relative in salary. So a little bit about myself. Last summer, after my freshman year, I had the opportunity to intern with Lockheed Martin, the rotary mission systems in Owego, New York. I was able to get this from attending a network reception hosted by the College of Engineering. So by going to these receptions, I met recruiters that set up an interview with me, and that was how I was able to secure an internship. So it's very possible for freshmen to get internships after their freshman year. The key is to attend these events and start meeting with recruiters to start making these connections. My internship was remote last summer, but it was a great experience all around. I was working on the new feature vertical lift, and I was able to make implementations on the cockpit system for these new helicopters that just in the last 2 weeks, these helicopters are starting to go out into production, and I'm able to see the work that I did come out in real life, which is really cool. This upcoming summer, I'll be working with Accenture, a consulting firm, as a technical development analyst. So I'll be working with different teams and clients to help analyze and come up with better solutions for them. So my experience at Lockheed was really cool, but I'm very excited to intern at this different company this summer to kind of narrow down where I want to work after I graduate. So yes, that is a little about me, and back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Alexis. I appreciate it. Talk to them a little bit about the ways in which we can support that part of their journey. So a couple of questions came in. You'll see Alexis for you in there. So feel free to grab those as now we make our transition to the virtual tour. So we have a few of our tour guides here today who are going to take you through campus and as if we were on campus, try to orient you to the different units and buildings that we have here that make up the College of Engineering. So I see Sam has turned her camera on, and I think Jenna is here as well. And we'll take it away, and then I believe that maybe Dan, you're going to share the screen, but Jenna, you're going to get us started. Is that correct?
I will share my screen for now. If my
try. All right.
freezes, Dan will back me up.
Thank you, Jenna.
One second. All right, can everyone see the screen?
It looks great. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you guys for your patience. But I'm sure you guys have heard this already. Welcome to the Penn State tour. Thank you guys so much for coming virtually. It's actually a pretty rainy day outside, so you chose a good day to do a virtual tour with us. So just a quick introduction. My name is Jenna, and I'm currently a junior studying mechanical engineering.
My name is Sam. I'm a third-year student, double majoring in biomedical and mechanical engineering. And we also have CJ, and he's doing the Q&A. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, I'm CJ, and I'll be doing the Q&A. I'm an aerospace engineering senior at Penn State.
Let's get this thing started. So generally when you arrive on campus, you'll get an overhead view of campus. So this is kind of what it'll look like. So on the top, that is considered the north side of campus. To the right where Beaver Stadium is, that is the east side of campus. On the bottom where Old Main and the downtown area is, that's the south side. And then to the left where the Nittany Lion Inn and where the west side, that's the west side of campus. So today we will be focusing on the west side where most of the engineering buildings are. So all the buildings that you see starred are buildings that house engineering majors that we'll be going over. So just a quick rundown of what we'll be going over. We'll be introducing you guys to the College of Engineering Services and Opportunities, and then we'll be talking about opportunities beyond the College of Engineering. And then we'll finally be ending with all the majors within the College of Engineering. So I believe there's 14 majors available and 13 minors at the University Park campus. So first up, we'll be talking about the College of Engineering Services and Opportunities. Even before the school year starts, we have many orientation opportunities for students to join in and really get used to campus. So they start off the school year with a bunch of friends, some networking opportunities, and know how to get around campus. So one of the three are called Women in Engineering Program, the Multicultural Engineering Program, and the Engineering Orientation Network. I will let Sam talk a little bit about the Women Engineering Program.
Yes, so thank you, Jenna. So the Women in Engineering Program orientation is about 4-day program where students get to come to campus early, you're making friends, you have upperclassmen mentors, and they're really going to help you through those next couple years until they graduate. I was in this program when I came into Penn State, and it was like the best decision I ever made. I still talk to my mentor now. She's why I chose to double major, and just it was a really amazing opportunity to kind of get to campus early and really make those relationships kind of early on. MEPO does the same thing, but I'll pass it back to Jenna to continue talking about that.
So we actually have a mini video to show you guys as I talk. So MEPO is also a 3-day program, and it really allows you to, again, get used to campus, know where all the buildings are. You can have some mentors, and as you can see on the last day, you can actually talk with some recruiters and get to know some of the big companies that are really involved with Penn State. All right, so next we'd like to touch on some residence halls. So Engineering House is one of the options that you have, and you're able to live in this place during your school year. And everyone in this house are all engineers. So chances are there's upperclassmen who've gone through exactly what you've gone through. They'll be able to provide you with advice on classes to take, professors to take, and it is actually very conveniently located on the top left corner of campus. And it's really nice because once you enter the major, most of your classes are on the west side of campus, so it's really easy to get wherever you need to go to. And then another really nice thing is we're going to jump down to Hammond Building is Kunkel Lounge. So Kunkel Lounge is attached to Hammond Building and Sackett Building. We'll show you the map in a little bit. It's around 5 to 10 minute walk away from E-House. And it's a really nice place for you to study. It's right next to the downtown area. If you're hungry, you can cross the street, grab a Dunkin' Donuts, grab some food, and then go right back to studying. Also, there's a lot of events that happen here. So if you walk through at the right time, you can probably snag a free pizza as you're going to your next class. So another option within the Hammond Building is actually the Engineering Library. So this place is really nice because there's a lot of computers that you can use there. There's every textbook you can need for your major, and all of the librarians there have engineering degrees, so you can ask them about book availabilities and which textbooks you should get. It's also a really nice place to study. You can reserve rooms and you can have meet up with friends there. One of my favorite features there are the whiteboard tables. You can draw on tables and do your work there. And then we also like to mention computers around here. So we get a common question that's should I bring a Windows computer? Should I bring a Mac computer? Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because you can remotely access all the lab computers on campus. So like, let's say you don't have SolidWorks or you don't have a CAD software, you can easily remote access one of these lab computers and just work from home if you need to. But if you do have any more questions related to computers, feel free to drop in the chat. I'm sure CJ would be happy to answer them. Awesome. So next up in the Hammond building, there's the dean's office. And our dean is absolutely awesome. His name's Justin Schwartz. He started in 2017, and he's really been increasing and helping out the diversity plan in the College of Engineering. So the door to the dean's hallway is always unlocked, so you can drop off scholarship applications in there. You can grab candies as you walk through. And on the topic of scholarships, there are tons of scholarships out there for you. If you go on like the Penn State scholarships website, if you're looking around, you can definitely find some that suit your needs or you fit into those categories. So we really encourage you to apply. And sometime along your college career, you'll for sure get some kind of scholarship. Awesome. So as College of Engineering students, you're required to take a first-year seminar. And first-year seminars are generally 1 credit classes that really introduce you to engineering fields. So you can take really any first-year seminar you want. Like I'm mechanical engineering, but I took an aerospace first-year seminar about helicopter parts. But there are some really cool examples, like there's product dissection where you take apart bikes or engines and then you put them back together throughout the semester. There's catastrophic failures where you learn how not to engineer and you learn from past engineers' mistakes. And there's even one called Engineering and Science Fiction where you watch science fiction movies and analyze how engineering applies into those and what's real or fake. So I will pass it off to Sam to talk about Engineering Design 100.
Awesome. Okay, so another class that almost all first-year engineers take is Engineering Design 100, or as we call it, E-Design. So it's a class that focuses on team-based, hands-on design projects. It's really developing super useful skills like designing projects from idea to prototype, including CAD projects, which we do through SolidWorks. So usually at the end of this, which you can see in that video there, you also see people prototyping their prototypes in one of our machine shops inside Hammond. So that's something that was really cool too. At the end of the year, you usually have a company sponsored project as well, which is really important to note because companies are taking an interest in you, kind of investing in you as a first year student, which is really something cool to know. And at the end, everyone kind of like presents their designs to the class, and then like some teams are invited to a design showcase at the Bryce Jordan Center. So again, really, really great opportunities for kind of your final senior year project that you'll have to do. This is kind of getting the ground running as soon as you're stepping foot on Penn State's campus. So we're going to move on from the classes and talk a little bit about specific minors in the College of Engineering. And the first one we'd like to mention is the Engineering Leadership Development minor, or ELD. And it focuses on developing leadership and soft skills that make engineers successful in the workplace. So how to make a successful presentation, or even, as I'm sure everyone's realized, learning how to communicate virtually and really get your point across, as it's something that due to COVID, we've had to become good at. And it also has the opportunity to network with professional alumni and even go abroad with the class, which we will talk about studying abroad a little bit later, a little more in detail. Obviously, you just heard, but some of our own experiences. And then the next minor we'll be talking about is HESI. So it's the Humanitarian Engineering and Social Entrepreneurship minor. This minor really focuses on global stewardship and sustainability. So it focuses on research, design, field testing, and it even launches a technology-based enterprise in the low and middle income countries. And so this is something that's really cool if you kind of want to combine all of this stuff to make a difference in the real world. It's a good combination of engineering and business too. So if that's something you're interested in, HESI is definitely something that you should be looking out for. So moving on from engineering minors, we'd like to talk about the Engineering Career Service Center. So outside of career services, we have an advising center that'll help you with scheduling, study abroad, and planning out your education. But specifically, the College of Engineering has their own career service center that helps you with all things job related, like building a resume, figuring out what internship or co-op is right for you. They even hold mock interviews, and they organize a ton of company visits and networking events throughout the year. We have career envoys, which you heard just from this. Their students helping students with resumes, technical documents, and career advice. And speaking of the career fair, our career fair is the largest career fair east of the Mississippi. Through receptions, major specific career fairs, our huge fall and spring engineering fairs, it's a really amazing opportunity to kind of get in touch with our large alumni network, because they love to hire Penn State grads and they love to kind of keep the Penn State name running in their company. So moving on now to opportunities beyond the College of Engineering. I'm going to start out with one of my favorite places, and that is the Hub. So the Hub is our student union building. You can kind of see it's in the center of campus. It's the right of this picture, but that is kind of our center of campus. It's home to a lot of club offices and spaces to study. My favorite, the food court, where it's a Burger King, Panda Express, and a Starbucks that you can use your meal plan for. So that's something that's really cool. I loved going to Starbucks and studying with my friends in the Hub, and the on-campus bookstore, which obviously wearing your Penn State swag is a must. So that's something that's really cool too. Outside of the Hub on the lawn is the club fair. It's held in the fall and spring semesters. And so we have over 1,000 student organizations. So basically, I mean, it's pretty hard not to find a club that you're interested in, but if you still can't find something that's right for you, then you can join you and 8 other friends, find a professor, and make your own club. But as you can see here, we have dance, different dance troupes, all different kinds of dancing. We have, I think that's maybe club cross country. We have club sports. We have thon. So if you don't know what thon is, it's okay. I didn't either, but it's the largest student-run philanthropy in the world, and it's committed to enhancing the lives of children and families impacted by childhood cancer. And it all culminates in the 46-hour dance marathon in February that we just had a while ago. And so that's why people are holding up the diamonds. And it's just a really amazing thing to be a part of. And it's something that we are incredibly proud of at Penn State. So again, so many different things to choose from. And I mentioned briefly sports. So if club sports may not be your thing, totally fine. We have so many gyms on campus. So we have the IM building, White building, and we have one called Hepper in West. And so IM building is the one pictured here. It's our newest gym. It's got a rock climbing wall, all different kinds of equipment, as you can see here. And all of these are open to Penn State students to use. So it's something that I've personally loved taking advantage of. And it's just a great place to kind of stop studying, relieve some stress, and just meet up with your friends and have some fun. Now we're going to move, kind of walk over to the Petite and Paternal Library. So 2 names, but it is one connected library. We'll be mentioning specifically the Petite Library. It's a really amazing place to study, has tons of computers. It's a really great place to meet up with groups when working on group projects, or just in general. There's different floors depending on how quiet or how loud you want it to be. So you go on the bottom, want a little more loud study environment, you go up the top. We even have a Harry Potter room if it's your thing, really cool. But it's just a really awesome space, has a lot of computers. So again, Jenna said, if your computer can't run certain software, we have lots of computers that can. Another space that we like to point out in the library is the Maker Commons. It's an awesome place for engineers. So every student gets so many 3D printing credits each semester. and you can just make any design and you can submit it to the Maker Commons to be printed. So this can be for projects, either class projects or personal projects. So that's something that's, again, really awesome opportunity for all Penn State students. So now we're going all the way west to the Learning Factory. It will be, is currently housed kind of in this building. You see that starred. It will be housed in one of our new buildings. I'm pretty sure one of the new west buildings is being built. So that's something that's really exciting. It's our largest design space on campus, great resource for engineers. You have to do like a one-time training to be eligible to go in to Learning Factory, but once you do it, there's a machine shop. They have everything from 3D printing to woodworking, metalworking, welding, water jetting, and just in general, there's so much you can do there. They have build nights, and they have, you can see this video here, shows all the different machines we have. So it's something that's really cool opportunity. There's TAs there all the time. So if you ever, forget something or don't know how to use something, they'll take you through how to use the machines so that you're always safe and just assisting with any problems you may have. Yeah, so now we're going to move on to majors. So I'm going to pass it back to Jenna to start talking about some of the majors in the College of Engineering.
Thanks, Sam. All right, so with that, let's jump into the 14 majors. So the first one we'll be hitting is in Hammond Building, which is home to Aerospace Engineering. So Aerospace Engineering, we have wind tunnels, test labs, jet wings, and missiles in the basement that students have the opportunity to work with. Hammond Building is actually being taken down soon, and aerospace is going to be housed in the West 1 building. I know, very creative name, but that's in the future. Aerospace is a more specialized version of mechanical engineering, but it has a stronger focus on topics like fluid dynamics, orbital mechanics, structures, and so on. And then aerospace engineers study system level topics for aircraft and spacecraft designs instead of the itty bitty parts inside of the crafts. So who hires aerospace engineers? Let's see, Boeing, Airbus, Lockheed Martin, Airlines, SpaceX, NASA, the list goes on. But also many aerospace engineers also go to grad school. But we also like to highlight this wind turbine lab. So basically students get to work with turbines and they can test the turbines in different kinds of environments to see how they work. And just a fun fact, Aerospace 420, this is actually the class that this video is of actually. Students get to test fly airplanes, and there is a windmill farm in East Campus for students to test their turbines. So some clubs to join, there's Lunar Lion, Sailplane, Rocket Club, Soaring Glider Club, SAE Aero Design, and then this one's actually Formula Racing, which I will let Sam talk about briefly.
Yeah, so Penn State is a Formula 1 racing team. I noticed in the chat people were talking about competition teams. So they have the Formula Society of Automotive Engineers, where they build a half scale from a race car, and they kind of work to build it from the ground up. So through the design phase and then actually like creating it, you can see here in the garage. And so then they get to race it. So that's something that's really cool. CJ, who's like answering our questions, is part of this team. So he definitely would be the one to ask like more specific questions to, but in general, it's a great way to get that hands-on kind of building experience and also have a lot of fun while doing it.
Awesome. So next up, we have nuclear engineering, which is housed in the Hallowell building, which is all the way in the west side of campus. So nuclear engineering is very similar to mechanical engineering up until junior year. Instead of learning about moving things, nuclear engineers study the energy of atoms and how to use them to power nuclear reactors, power plants, defense systems, and so on. And they also study how to use radiation and plasma for medical sterilization and manufacturing needs. So power producers like Westinghouse, Exelon, Navy, the naval contractors, and research lab all are always looking for nuclear engineers. So one really cool thing about Penn State is that we actually have a nuclear reactor on campus. Now it's completely safe. It's not going to blow up or anything in case you're worried about that. But students actually get to work hands-on in this reactor and do experiments with it. So let me put this video. So in this video, you'll see that there's a blue glow of the rods, and that's when they pulse the reactors. And nuclear engineering students have the ability to work in one of the 13 test reactors in the country. So this is one of them. And a fun fact, white and pink poinsettias were actually invented at this nuclear reactor when these seeds were exposed to radiation. So from there, we will move on to mechanical engineering, my favorite major of all. I think I'm a bit biased here, but it's in Raber Building. It's like a 2-minute walk from Hammond. They're like right next to each other. So with mechanical engineering, there's a really nice study area there that they recently opened up called EKnowledge Commons. The basement of this building is also getting renovated, and they actually just opened it up this semester. And there's a lot of wind tunnels, testing stations, some really nice equipment down there that you can actually use as mechanical engineers. But mechanical engineering is one of the biggest and broadest majors, and you focus on taking an idea from someone's head and making it into a reality. So you use knowledge of thermo, fluids, vibrations, materials, and design, and all of that to make a working product. So this department has actually recently started micro-credentialing. So you can take a workshop that's usually like 2 to 3 hours, spread across a couple of weeks, and you can actually get a badge that you can put on your resume or your LinkedIn profile to show recruiters that you've done such workshops. So many ME students are also do research in labs, one of those which is SIMP 3D. And I believe this one is an additive manufacturing facility. And so you work with like 3D printing and work with and like develop materials. So one fun class is ME 340. They do change what they teach every semester, but a while back they did BattleBots competitions. So you'd build a robot over a course of semester and race them as one of your final projects. Now, when I took that class, we actually built an exhibit for a children's museum in State College, and it was sponsored by a company. So it was a really cool experience. They walked us through the design process, and our client was Discovery Space, so we had to meet with them and get their approvals and their feedback on our exhibit. So I did mention briefly the EKnowledge Commons. So this EKnowledge Commons is a really nice place to work. They have computers there. They have a lot of computers that not enough students utilize, honestly. There's always a lot of computers open that you can use when you go there. But if you see in the top right, there's actually a lot of study rooms that students can go in and work with their group mates or friends. And they actually have company sponsor names on them. So there's Ford, there's Bechtel, and there's a couple other companies that sponsored this project. So who hires mechanical engineers? All industries. So big employers include Boeing, Ford, GE Oils and Gas Refineries, consulting firms, defense contractor, the list goes on. So some ways to get involved in the mechanical engineering field. One would be the advanced vehicle team. There's 3D printing club. There's MakerBots, design challenges throughout the year if you keep an eye out on your email. And there's a lot of student orgs, ASME, so the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Generally, every engineering major has one of these. So like chemical engineering, we'll be touching that next actually, has like AICE, American Institute of Chemical Engineers. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to get involved. So with that, I'll pass it off to Sam to talk about chemical engineering.
All right, so we are now moving to a different side of campus, so not housed with, in the west side, we have I guess it's not necessarily brand new, but very new building. So the Chemical and Biomedical Engineering building. First, I'll start talking about biomedical engineering. So biomedical engineering, it's a really good track for students who are looking to go into the medical field, but have a more technical background than pre-med. So biomedical engineers, they learn a lot about science and all different sciences, mathematics behind physiological systems. So how and why our bodies do what they do based on principles of physics and math. These principles are then applied to design and create solutions to medical problems like new imaging systems, better drugs, prosthetics. Obviously, you can take it in a lot of different ways. It has multiple different tracks. And so it's kind of a very good major if you're trying to explore different things. Saying that, about a third of students go into industry, a third go to grad school, and a third go to med school. So again, no matter where you end up, biomedical engineering is a really good first step for you. And there are many ways to get involved. As Jenna said, there's always the Biomedical Engineering Society, which is just their professional society. It's a really good opportunity to network with other BME students, grad students, professors, etc. But specifically, we want to highlight DigiDigits, which is now I think called DigiDesign, but it's a club where students design, build, and 3D print prosthetic hands for kids. So the old name Digits was because of the digits on your finger. But again, it's another really great opportunity to get that hands-on work where you're making a difference. And that's something that's interesting to you, maybe you should look into biomedical engineering. But moving on, we are still in the same building, different major. Next, we'll talk about chemical engineering. So chemical engineers, they're really experts in the chemical processes. So it's any process that occurs in biological cells, all the way up to industrial manufacturing. So something that's cool to note is that every plastic, paper, bottled water, shampoo, makeup, gas, and life-saving drug is made possible by chemical engineers. So it's, again, you can take it in so many different ways. A lot of companies hire them like Exxon, Shell, Merck, and just a lot of companies that take advantage of their process expertise and obviously the strong problem-solving skills that come from any Penn State engineering degree. One fun fact about chemical engineering is that all chemies work in groups to design an entire chemical plant for their senior project. So again, something that's a good way to kind of start doing those projects, before you even go into industry, if that's what you want to do. Now we're moving way up north. So we'd already traveled all the way to the right, but now we're going up even further to the agricultural engineering building. So biological engineering is housed here. They work to find innovative ways to provide all the essential things that everyone needs, like food, fiber, water, energy, while at the same time focusing on protecting the environment. Biological engineering students, they get to focus on a specific area by choosing an option within their major. So it splits into agricultural engineering, food and biological processing, or natural resource. So again, you can see a pattern. A lot of Penn State engineering majors you can take in many different directions depending on what you're specifically interested in. A lot of people hire them like PepsiCo, Hershey, John Deere, Johnson & Johnson, and even environmental consulting and government agencies like the National Resource Conservation Science Board. Now, one lab we always like to touch on is the CSL bearing fermentation facility. So it's a biotechnology pilot plant. It has a lot of research, pilot scale production of microbial cells, recombinant proteins, and other products over a wide range of controlled conditions. So it's I think biological engineers, mainly work here, but you don't have to be a biological engineer to work in this lab, just interested in kind of making a difference this way. So we'll be talking more about research, but just in general, any major can do research, and all of the majors kind of have specific research that you can look into, but you can do any research that you're interested in. You just kind of have to go up to the professor and ask them, tell them you're interested in the research. But yeah, so we'll move back a little bit over west to Sackett Building. Sackett Building is home to civil engineering, which is one of the oldest engineering disciplines around. They design a lot of the public facilities that you may take for granted, like the roads and bridges you drive on, all different types of buildings, and even the clean water that comes out of your tap, all worked on by civil engineers. So again, they can specialize in 5 different areas. So structures, water resources, construction, materials, and even environmental engineering. So this lab that we're showing you in this video is EcoMachine. So civil engineers, I think, work with biological engineers to learn about wastewater treatment using natural plants. So here they're trying to figure out how to use this plant to treat water so they don't have to treat it with harsh chemicals, just in general, a lot better for the environment. And again, another great way to get involved. If research is not your thing, don't worry. We have a ton of project-based things. We mentioned, Formula SAE. Well, civil engineering has Concrete Canoe. So it is a canoe made out of concrete. And usually when we give the tour in person, people are like, there's no way it actually floats. So the fact that you're virtual, you can see proof that it does actually float. They just had their competition recently, did very well. So it's something that's really cool. It's just a project that, again, a lot of civil engineers really like working on, but if you're interested in it, you don't have to be a civil engineer. They welcome everyone. But again, a lot of great hands-on research. So we always like to mention Westgate. Before talking about everything that's housed in Westgate, we like to mention the fact that this bridge was actually designed in France, but when they brought the design here and started building it, they realized that the structure was going to be too heavy and actually fall on Atherton Street, which is a street that it goes over. So civil engineers at Penn State had to figure out a way to reduce weight in the building. So they actually hollowed out those brick columns and they cut that giant skylight you see so that it would be not as heavy and wouldn't fall in the street, which obviously is very important. You can also, if you're like walking on the bridge, you see cracks that are in the bridge. Those cracks are not actually like weathered from old age, but they're purposeful so that the bridge can expand and contract with the many, many weather changes in State College. And there's also a brand new building being built for civil engineers because it's moving from Sackett. So I forgot to mention that. But again, all the new construction you can see online. So it's something we're super excited about. But I will pass it back to Jenna to continue talking about the majors.
So next up, we have the electrical engineering buildings, which are creatively named Electrical Engineering East and West. So they're located right above Hammond Building, around a 3 or 4 minute walk. So electrical engineering is pretty diverse major, and there are a lot of resources for students to use. So EE West is home to undergraduate labs that are utilized for a variety of courses. So you might take a lot of classes there once you enter into the electrical engineering major. Whereas in EE East, I think those are more like clubs, and I think there's more classrooms and labs in there. But there's one big thing about electrical engineering is they actually have a stock room for students. So there's everything you could ever need in there. There's breadboards, oscilloscopes, circuit components that you can just go in and grab for your projects. So one big misconception is that electrical engineers don't just play with circuit boards all day, and that is not true. So they do things from designing microelectronics in your phones to working with the grid that distributes power all across the US. And because it is such a broad major, students can actually take electives in 12 areas and kind of figure out which pathway they want to go down. So some examples are power systems, communications, digital electronics, and optics. And in their first year, students will take a seminar where they learn about electrical engineering skills such as HAM radios or Arduinos. So in addition to that, the College of the EECS, they allow students to minor in computer engineering, which is a brand new feature that was new as of fall of 2020. But EE students will also learn how to code in their first year, and they have the ability to take additional coding courses as they advance through the curriculum. So all industries hire electrical engineers as well. So some popular companies include energy companies like Exelon or Westinghouse, aerospace or defense companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin, and even automobile companies like Ford. But you can also go to graduate school, or you can even do research after you graduate from your undergrads. So one big thing we like to highlight is the IEEE Robotics Day. And this is a really good way to get involved. During like the spring, during the school semester, the school actually invites the community around Penn State, and they invite students, kids to come in and learn more about robotics. And it's a really awesome way for you to get involved if you want to be involved with coordinating that and figuring out the logistics behind that. And a fun fact is that in 2008, or a 2008 Penn State grad actually was a technical lead on the Mars Curiosity rover. And so that's a really cool feature. You can really get, have a really big impact as an electrical engineer. So with that, we're going to head back to Westgate building on the left side of campus to talk about computer science, computer engineering, and data sciences. So computer science and computer engineering, a lot of people always get them confused. So computer science focuses on the studies of computational problem solving. So that includes system programming and theoretical foundations. And to apply them, you can apply them to mobile apps, to desktop applications. Whereas for computer engineering, you focus more on designing the hardware and systems for computing. So this includes digital circuits to embedded devices to data centers and supercomputers. Both majors, they do provide fundamental understanding for how things work and how to design these systems. And they both require courses and electives that include a lot of coding. And students can actually now pursue a new cybersecurity minor that was opened up recently. So apart from cybersecurity minors, students majoring in CS and computer engineering can also minor in various programs from other colleges. This is universal across all engineering majors. You can minor or double major in any major you want. So like my roommate, actually, she's majoring in comp sci, but she's also minoring in psychology and statistics. So depending on what your interests lie, you can do anything you want with your curriculum. And then in addition to that, computer science majors can also study abroad. But again, that's universal across all engineering majors, and all majors in general in the university part, you can study abroad. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So as we play this video, we'll talk about who hires, which everyone does. Our world is really digitalized nowadays. Everyone uses computers to run their companies and their labs. So big recruiters are in the areas of finance, healthcare, aerospace, software companies, Capital One, JP Morgan, Microsoft are some big ones. So there's a lot of ways to get involved, like Association for App Development, Virtual Reality Club, Association of Women in Computing, CAC PSU, which actually just happened this past weekend, where students have, there's 24 hours and students can participate for free. There's a lot of workshops, free food, free merch for students to really learn more about coding. So next up, we are going to talk about data sciences. So data sciences is also inside of Westgate. So this is actually the inside of Westgate. But data sciences major is an intercollegiate undergraduate major, which means there's 3 options and one of them are in the College of Engineering. So the option in the College of Engineering is called the Computational Data Sciences major. So this one looks at the design and analysis of software and hardware used for processing large amounts of data, like unstructured data sets. So this major is a lot of math, statistics, computer science, and includes studies in the areas of computing with big data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So data science majors are allowed to join organizations, including really similar to computer science and computer engineering, so Women in Computing, DevPSU, and Association for App Development. So with this major as well, it's possible to spend a semester abroad. And there's also a lot of first-year research opportunities. So WISER, which is Women in STEM Engineering Research, and then FERP and MERP, which is like multicultural undergrad research program. And then I'm not entirely sure what the FURP one is. But if you would like to learn more about that, definitely look up research opportunities at Penn State and you'll definitely come across them. So with data scientists, who hires everyone, Graduates are competitive for analytics positions across many different industries. So if you're a data scientist, you can get a job anywhere. Awesome. So next up, we will hop over to the Leonard Building, which is where industrial engineering is. So industrial engineering is where the business and economics meets the technical world, and it's all about optimizing processes. So industrial engineers can work with processes like how iPhones or pairs of shoes get put together, or how the supply chain of huge manufacturing sites are set up. And they also work with minimizing risk and injuries in industry, which is really important. So Penn State's industrial engineering program focuses a little bit more on the manufacturing than the typical IE program, because PA is a huge manufacturing state, which exports in the billions. So although there is a focus with manufacturing, there are also highly wanted skills that are taught, like data analytics, just to make sure that industrial engineers or students are equipped with new emerging methods. So one big lab that we like to focus on is the FAME lab, and it's an awesome opportunity. I think it's also additive manufacturing, but students get to learn about different types of 3D printing, get to work with, again, high-tech machinery, and work with professors to advance their research. But who hires? Again, all industries hire industrial engineers. So big employers like Nike, Disney, GE, FedEx, Procter & Gamble, just to name a few. And I think a really cool fun fact is that one of the past students who graduated from industrial engineering, they took a huge part in making the Fast Pass in Disney World that we now all know about. So here's just a short video of the FAME lab. So if you can see along the top row, there's a lot of windows, so students can actually walk past there and look down at the processes and manufacturing stuff happening on the floor. Awesome. So next up, we will hop over to the engineering units, which is home to architectural engineering. So architectural engineering is currently, it will be moved to engineering units A and B, and also, or it is currently, sorry, it's currently housed in engineering units A and B, and in the future, it'll be moved to West 1. So architectural engineering and architects work in teams to design and construct buildings. So if you think of building as a sculpture that people live and work in, the architects are called sculptors. The architectural engineers make sure that the structure and the indoor environments are safe and comfortable for users. So they provide the engineering to make sure that the buildings are secure and resilient to like weather or temperature. So architecture engineering is actually a 5-year program. So for the first 3 years, students are exposed to facets of the profession covering mechanical, structural, lighting, electrical, and different construction management principles. And in the final 2 years, students can choose to specialize in one of 4 programs. So students who are interested in the master's degrees, the architectural engineering program offers an integrated bachelor's and master's program, which is just 12 more credits. And in addition to the master's degree, there's plenty of overlap in courses to pick up a minor in like architecture studies or residential construction. So who hires architectural engineering? AE design firms and construction companies. This major is really cool in that there is virtually 100% job placement. So this means that there are more companies looking for architectural engineering students than there are actual students here at Penn State. So generally every year, the architectural engineering program has their own career fair with over 135 companies in attendance. And the cool thing is generally there's not enough students to actually visit all those career fairs. So all students actually get internships or co-ops and experience to work in the real world. So ways to get involved include the Student Society of Architectural Engineering, Illuminating Engineering Society, Students Partnership for Achieving Construction Excellence, so SPACE, American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, Air Conditioning. There are so many ways for you to get involved. So this is where we'll be touching on study abroad programs. So the architectural engineering program has a faculty-led summer study abroad program, either in Rome or China, and a spring break study abroad in Belgium. And so around half the students choose to study abroad. actually, Sam, do you want to talk about study abroad?
Sure. So I'm actually currently in Italy on my study abroad program. So, you know, a lot of people will tell you like, oh, you can't study abroad as an engineer. Well, that's definitely not true. There's a lot of ways to, you know, do whatever you want to do with study abroad. So I'm on a full semester direct exchange program. So I'm spending my entire semester at Politecnico di Milano in Milan, Italy. And if that's kind of too long or you want a shorter thing, we have Maymester. So it's just for kind of one month. Yeah, it's just for May. We also have summer programs. Again, we have spring break programs. We have, you know, like a short one over January, and then we have the faculty-led program. So you take class at Penn State, and then you maybe have like a week or two where the faculty would take you to continue kind of see your education in action. So again, there's a lot of really awesome ways to study abroad, even if it's not for an entire semester. It's a really amazing experience. I've been here 2 months now, like yesterday. So it's been awesome. I'm so glad I'm here. But in general, you can study abroad, just plan it out. I planned mine out from the beginning, and I will be graduating, you know, with 2 degrees on time, etc. So very possible as an engineer. But with that, we're going to continue talking, moving to the Earth and Engineering Science building. So that's home to engineering science. Engineering science is our honors major. So basically what that means is that all students who are engineering science students must do research and write a thesis to graduate. It's not housed in the honors college. However, you can be a part of it, you know, separately if you'd like to. Engineering science allows students to kind of mix and match classes from other engineering disciplines to tailor their education to their interests. So I had a friend who was really interested in art of, it was machine learning, maybe, sorry. And so just taking all different classes from different majors to really tailor the experience to exactly what they wanted. And so we call it like the build your own major. There's a lot of ways to get involved. It's the Society of Engineering Science. They do really well at the Rube Goldberg competition. In general, as an engineering science major, you can get involved in anything you want, any of our other clubs at Penn State too. So again, touching back onto research, as we've said a lot, you can get into research really easily by talking to professors just about their projects, talking to other people's professors, even just emailing them. I've gotten emails all the time about professors looking for students to do research. And so in general, it's a great experience for your resume and really helping figuring out what you might want to do after you graduate. So we've mentioned today some services and opportunities beyond the College of Engineering, and finally, some of our majors within the College of Engineering, but we always like to kind of wrap up with the Lion Shrine. So, and kind of our reasons for choosing Penn State. So my reason for choosing Penn State was actually after being on a tour in person, kind of walking around Penn State's campus and seeing all the students like wearing their Penn State gear. It was just, you could really feel the spirit. Study abroad program that I'm on right now. When I was a high school student, and I knew that was exactly what I wanted to do, and now it's all like happening. So I'm very thankful for all the opportunities Penn State's given me, and just can't wait to see everything else.
For me, I am actually a townie, so I grew up around Penn State. But just like from growing up with the Penn State football games, I saw that there's a really, really nice and close community at Penn State. So when it came my time to apply for college, I took a tour around Penn State and I saw all the amazing services and opportunities at Penn State. And I decided to call this place my home for college. And I do not regret that at all.
All right, thank Thank you both very much, and especially to Sam for joining us from abroad. Sam, what time is it local time for you? It's probably the middle of the night.
It's 11:30 p.m.
Okay, all right, so that's not terrible.
so
but
bad.
still, we appreciate you joining us from there. CJ was behind the scenes, and CJ, if you don't mind, I was going to invite you to also share and say hello, but share your kind of journey to Penn State and why you chose to come here. I do know that he may be pulled in a couple of different directions right now, so I see that he's not unmuting or putting on his camera. So I think CJ,
I'm just trying.
There he is.
Yeah, sorry. It took me a second to get it unmuted there.
No worries. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Of course. But yeah, I can definitely talk about why I chose Penn State. I basically didn't come from a Penn State family, so it was kind of more of my brother's college tour where I wound up on campus for a few days. And I went around and I was talking to some of the engineering professors in architectural and aerospace and engineering science, trying to get a feel for if I would fit into one of those majors. And, when I was sitting down with professors and other students in the department and talking to grad students, they just made it sound like there were a lot of opportunities that I could get involved with, like the FSAE team and liked my capstone, which is design, build, fly. And, I was able to actually feel and see myself in this department and taking part in those activities and doing research. And it just got me super excited, and everyone was so nice and helpful and guiding. And they made me truly believe that whatever I wanted to do, I'd be able to do it. And so I chose Penn State, and I've loved it ever since. So that's a little bit about that.
Right on. Well, thank you, CJ, and thank you, Jenna and Sam as well for taking us through campus virtually today. You all, as our participants today, have continued program opportunities as part of your accepted student visit. Some of those start at 5:30, and so we'll give you a minute or two to run to the restroom if you need to, and log back into your main landing page where you can see the different options for your sessions after this. I dropped in the chat an email address that goes directly to our team here in the admissions team for the College of Engineering. If you have any additional questions or you didn't get your question answered the way you wished, feel free to follow up with us there, and we will either put you in touch with the perfect person to answer that question or give you some context and some answers ourselves. So again, thank you for joining us today. Congratulations on your acceptance to Penn State. We wish you the best in your decision making. And thanks again to our panelists, Sam, Jenna, and CJ, and then Dan, of course, who was also behind the scenes answering questions. I'm going to go ahead and end this session now, and you'll get a copy of this recording via email later this week. Thanks again.